the 150th time. It's the Grunge Bible Podcast. My name is Chris Salona, and here's Ethan Shalloway, and we are back once again, the 150th week in a row, sitting down at the table to talk about whatever it is we want to talk about.
That's right. That's how the Grunge Bible rolls. We pick a random topic sometimes, and we go ahead and give you 45 minutes, and that's what we're about to do today. We got some exciting topics, I think, though, right, Chris?
Yeah, we do. Really stimulating, really intriguing, I think, for a vast majority of the listeners.
I feel like usually it's something that has consumed us on our best ones. It's something that's consumed us for the past week or 2 weeks, maybe, or longer. Something that we just all of a sudden it boils over and we have to talk about it. And today is one of those days. Yeah.
Well, if you think about it, that ethos that surrounds what you just said, really is responsible for Grunge Bible itself, because we fixated on something, and here we are. This is over 8 years of fixation, though, and same thing with the podcast, coming up on 3 years of just fixating on needing to put an episode out every week. But
we have the reason why we're story to tell. Everyone has a story to tell,
and this is our forum.
Yeah, exactly. This is how we get our words out there. So today will be no different. Yeah. I mean, it's just the same reason that we started the flood. Same reason we started any type of, Primus sucks, any type of like thing that we've done.
Mudhoney's the only grunge band.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. So this one's going to be fun. I'm excited.
This will be really good. We've got some current events, and then we do have to discuss our latest fixation that's not going to go away for a long time. So here we are. This is the first episode of the month of February. We made it through January. It felt like it was 8 months long. And now that we're through, Ethan, it's time to check in. How are you? Did you make it through in one piece? And what's the mindset heading into this second month of the year?
My mindset is really uplifting is the word I'll use. I'm doing really well. Okay. January was a great start to the year. Got a lot of habits that I'm starting to build. I feel on top of things. I feel like I'm really progressing, and I'm pumped up about it. I'm really excited. Discipline is freedom, as we usually like to say.
Sticking to the script.
So it was really a good month. We only had we didn't have any snow here, maybe a flurry or two, but I like seasons, so not having snow is kind of a bummer when it's cold, but whatever. What are you going to do? How are you doing, Chris? How was January for you?
It was good. It took a while to get through it, but overall, I give it positive reviews. Similarly to you, I kind of use the month to focus in on getting back to basics and stuff, and trying to actually get 7 or 8 hours of sleep a night, eating healthily, going to the gym, all that kind of stuff, and just simplifying things. My life pretty much broke down for the last couple of weeks into kind of a very simple plan. You wake up in the morning, you work, you come home, you work some more. My full-time job, you eat right, you go to the gym, you come home and you watch the OC, and then you get to bed nice and early and you get your 7 or 8 hours of sleep as you deserve. And it's treated me very well. And I think I might run it back for a good bit of February as well. So I'm good today, on this day. The sun is out. The sun has not shone here in my town for, I would say, the last 2 weeks. It's been cloudy, just straight cloud. So, January was throwing everything at me, man. But we held our own, and we made some positive changes. I feel really healthy. I'm at a lower body weight than I was previously, which has been a goal of mine. And things in the gym are going really well. I'm making progress, on track for some good personal bests in there too. Nice. So we're good, man.
That's awesome. Yeah, I toned up a little bit this past month as well.
Dropped it feels good though. You're like the best shape of your life. Shit,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I feel good.
Yeah, I've been starting every morning off with a little cold therapy, whether cold shower, and then I go out and stand outside and take a look at the sun if it's out. Yeah. And it was probably like 25% of the month. The sun wasn't out.
I felt like I was back in Pittsburgh
to start. Yeah, but during the day, usually it did come out. I feel like we probably got some more. Yeah, it felt like Pittsburgh.
Yeah, we got nothing. I'll tell you, as soon as we're done with this podcast, we're recording on Saturday the 3rd in the morning. As soon as we finish this, I'm going outside.
Taking a walk?
Yeah, I'm taking a walk.
Hell yeah. I could allude to MGMT, Take a Walk, one of the favorite songs by them.
Sounds fantastic. So, Ethan, we are here today to discuss a couple of important topics. I always give the preamble whenever there's news that, with grunge, there's not really a whole lot of new events going on. And that's true. There's really not a whole lot going on in the world of
Thank
grunge
God,
rock.
right?
But we've got something on our hands here. We're reeling in a very, very big fish. There have been rumors for the last several months about a new Pearl Jam studio album, and they had alluded to the fact that they were working on something for the last couple of years. And if the tea leaves are correct, it's coming, and it's coming soon. So we're going to talk about that. And then in addition to that, and perhaps more importantly, but maybe, something that we're more excited to talk about, we got to talk about the television show, The OC. And before those listening are like, what the hell does that have to do with anything? Just watch. Try us.
Wait and see. Exactly. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I can't wait. So yeah, I know I almost want to skip over this day in music. I just want to get right to the good stuff. But
yeah, we have a few things though. We have, as is tradition, and also the tradition that we have. We have to thank people. We have to thank the people that make this show possible. And Grunge Bible is on the move in 2024. We've got some big things coming soon. Major announcements are on the way as we speak. But at the end of the day, we've got people in our corner no matter what. And most notably, those are the people that support us on Patreon. Any of our 3 tiers, $2, $5, or $10 per month goes to us and helps us pay for this show. And it's almost getting to be that time of year where all of our subscriptions are due. So there is no better time than the present day to support us on Patreon. If you've been listening to the show for a while and you like it and you enjoy listening to us, and you're in a position that you're able to support us a little bit, now's the perfect time. We are patiently waiting and very excited to welcome you into the Patreon family. And if you support us at the top tier, I get to read your name every single week. And Ethan, we have a new member. We can finally ring the bell once again. I would like to announce the fact that Russell has moved up from the $2 tier to the $10 tier. He went from the basement to the penthouse, and I would just wish I could shake Russell's hand.
I want to shake your hand.
I want to shake your hand.
I want to shake your hand, Russell.
I would love to shake Russell's hand. So that's the type of movement that we're talking about.
That's right. There's nothing that would get in the way right now of me shaking Russell's hand. If he was
nothing.
Here. Nothing.
Absolutely nothing. So thank you, Russell, for your support. We're grateful that you like the show enough to support us initially, and also feel the need to, raise your level of support. So Russell joins a family, a legion, perhaps, a conglomerate, if you will, of top tier Patreon supporters. And their names are at this time: Black Hole Sean, The Blue Owl, Kara K, Corden Stewart, D-Boat, Doug Endy, Down a Hole, Flat Out Fucked, Eddie Vedder Got Me Through My Second Divorce, Gochu John, Fuck Soup, Faith Bittner, Eric R. Berry, Apona, Granny Grunge, Jade Mercado, Jamie Lynn, Carlene Salona, Chris LSMS, King Buzzo Stole My Hair, Keith White, Lauren Irene, Millie, Nikki Six, Pile of Punk, What the Fuck Is Up, Denny, Seattle 4 Fanboy from New Jersey, and Sherry Matthews. Thank you, one and all, for being with us on this journey as we finally reach the summit of 150 episodes of the Grunge Bible podcast.
That was a quick one. That seemed like you got through that pretty fast.
I'm pretty lubed up today. I feel good. I'm rolling.
If you guys are considering supporting and donating the show, this is a great time, because we do have some new shit, some new merchandise that is coming.
New shit has come to light.
We're about to lock something in that is going to be really great, and we won't say what it is. We've alluded to it already, but if you are going to be a part of our Patreon support program, you'll have first access. We're going to allow you guys to have first access to it, probably at a discounted rate. So you're getting the inside scoop here. So please head over there, consider joining, and it'll pay dividends later, hopefully. And also, you get to support something you enjoy. So why not?
That's the way it is. Let's dispense with this day in music history rather quickly, because it was a very light lineup. Although evidently, we're recording this on the 3rd, which is the 26th anniversary of Pearl Jam's Yield album. I believe last year we did a nice and dandy episode on Yield on the 25th anniversary. So go back and listen to that if you're trying to get into the Yield zone. But I'm just going to burn through the birthdays on my own here. Just get them done nice and quick.
Yeah, let's do it.
On this day in 1934, the great Henry Aaron was born. born, second all time on the Major League Baseball home runs list with 755.
This day in music,
obviously,
baby.
Yeah, this day in music. Hammer and Hank Aaron, second place, because Barry Bonds has the most home runs, and I won't tolerate any boomers who say that Aaron has the record because Bonds may or may not have used performance-enhancing drugs. It's a bunch of bullshit. Barry is the record owner, and that's just the way that it is.
He still hit them. I'm probably going to watch some highlights
Oh,
later.
yeah. I need to get some Barry Bonds highlights in me. It's been too long. And by that, it's probably been like 4 days.
Man. Yeah.
On this day in 1964, Duff McKagan, notably the bassist for our favorite band Guns N' Roses, was born. So happy birthday to Duff. He's been a big supporter of a lot of the Seattle music scene, and he's been personally friendly with so many of those guys, and has made quite an impact throughout his life. So happy birthday to Duff. And then lastly, probably the musician with the most prowess that we'll speak about today. On this day in 1985, Cristiano Ronaldo was born. So happy birthday to the great one. And that's what we've got for births. For events, a similarly light calendar. Ethan, would you like to take the first one?
Yep, I'll rip through. In 1962, Ringo Starr makes his first live appearance with the Beatles at both the Liverpool's Cavern Club for a lunchtime set and another in the evening at South Park's Kingsway Club.
Ringo,
happy anniversary, Ringo. Yeah.
The best drummer in the world.
Yep, he's probably the best part of that band. Right? I don't know.
My favorite part about the Beatles, my favorite event in Beatles history is the breakup.
Okay, I'd like to say something else. Moving on to 1971. Black Sabbath began recording Master of Reality. What are your thoughts about Black Sabbath, Chris?
I never go out of my way to listen to them because I like the stuff that they influence, the bands that they had the influence on. I go to that stuff. That I really dig that stuff. But I mean, you make the case. I mean, without Black Sabbath, I don't think Soundgarden sounds the same way, and I don't think a lot of those bands sound the way that they ended up sounding. So, very, very important for sure. But
the original
I've got my
metal
favorites. Band. I've got my favorites. The War Pigs of the world, certainly the Sweet Leafs of the world. Big connoisseur of Sweet Leaf by Black Sabbath. Iron Man, no thanks, but Into the Void, not bad.
Before we move on, can you explain the Sweet Leaf lore that we've had? I don't know if we've ever been into detail, and this is a good one for the people out there. This is right in 2014 range, or 2015.
This is pre-grunge Bible, and this is for the people that listen to the show that have grown to enjoy you and me as people and not just grunge rock. So this was, you were a javelin thrower, so you didn't travel during indoor track. And I threw the weight and the hammer. So I traveled for indoor and outdoor track. I competed both seasons. And for some reason, I don't remember how or why, but you convinced our throws coach at Pitt
I think he convinced me. He was like, come with. And I was like, what? Why?
So you did, though. So you came to throw the shot put at a track meet at Youngstown State University in Youngstown, Ohio in January of 2015. And we get there, all the boys are competing. The whole men's team's competing for the first time as a unit because, there were the three of us freshmen and we hadn't gotten the chance to toe the line with you in the field of battle. I don't remember how any of us really performed that day. I think it was pretty mid. But the most important part about that day is the fact that in the top corner of Youngstown State's track and field complex, they had like a second floor kind of like a scaffolding thing, and they had a man set up there with a table, and he was the DJ for the day. And he was advertising that if you tweeted him at Tune Weavers, if you tweeted this man a suggestion, he would play it. And once we discovered that, all bets were off. We were firing tweets like they were flares off the Titanic, left and right up to this man.
We were seeing just how far we could go. Like, what would he actually play? So we started off easy, sending in stuff we knew he'd play, but then we start getting into the weeds of stuff.
Yeah. And finally, I think our magnum opus of that day was when somebody sent in a tweet. One of us sent it in the tweet requesting "Sweet Leaf" by Black Sabbath. Which, if you know the song, it starts with the coughing, and then it gets into that absolutely just monstrous riff. And obviously, it's about cannabis. which, this was 2015. I mean, this was before, it had gained a bunch of legality across the states, and maybe a little edgy perhaps. And, Tune Weavers came through and ripped Sweet Leaf for us. So I'll never be able to think of Black Sabbath without thinking of that track meet, and without thinking of you.
Absolutely. I remember Jim, Dan Jordan was there, RIP. And Jim, obviously, he threw well. He threw but it was like 14 meters, I think, in the shot
like
put
1460 or something.
Yeah, and I do remember like the shot put competition, but like in between, like I remember you were like our, what's the word I'm looking for? You were the messenger. We were like, Chris, you would like,
because I wasn't competing in the shot. I had already thrown the weight earlier that day. So I needed to get the boys pumped up for them. Because Andrew threw shot that day too. It might have been the last time that he threw shot.
Yeah. Well, oh man, you definitely should have. That would have been great. But it was great because you were like
6 meters.
You were like our messenger for like running to the touch tunes all night, putting on Creed.
I was the courier.
And I felt like you knew Tune Weavers like personally at the end of the night. Like,
I might as well have. Didn't you? Did you beat? You didn't
Bruce.
You beat Bruce and you beat Dan, right?
I was gonna say that. I want to look up the results because
we'll look up the T-first for that later.
Yeah. I feel like I did. I think I threw like just under 13 meters. I mean, probably like
did
low
you
12,
did you
actually.
glide or were you a spin?
Oh yeah, no, I
had to glide.
I definitely glided.
You didn't rotate.
I definitely glided, but
well, that was the beginning of our friendship with Dan Jordan. What a great guy he was.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it was.
That was the first day. Yeah, what a day that was. So thank you to Black Sabbath for creating such a song that we could bond over 40 some odd years later. Moving forward, I'll take the last two. We'll move through them really quick. I didn't know that the initial event to spawn this event had happened, but apparently on this day in 1979, Elton John played his first show back on the road 15 months after he had announced his retirement. I did not know that he had announced his retirement. I suppose sometime in the previous year in 1978. And I mean, I just saw him play last year. So it's seemingly
retirement's treating him well.
He did it before Brady. He unretired, and before Brett Favre even. And then lastly, on this day in 1981, Joni Mitchell was inducted into Canada's Juno Hall of Fame. Very prestigious songwriter and musician who's just recently, I think last year at Newport Folk Festival, she played her first live show in like many, many years. After some health ailments. So glad to see that. Joni Mitchell, a treasure of North America for sure. So that does it for this day in music history and all of the birthdays and the associated personal lore. So what do you say we discuss Pearl Jam's impending 12th studio album? So we've got some stats here that I'll just share. So I think as early as way back in 2022, or maybe even before that, Stone Gossard had given some interviews and had been talking about the fact that, the band had been working on an album. And then fast forward a couple of months after that, and it was like, hey, the album's basically finished. And then we heard nothing pretty much for most of 2023. And then towards the end of last year, beginning of this year, things have started to get ramped up a little bit. There have been some rumors of some tour dates at the ballparks in late summer, as they've been doing the last, 10 years or so. There have been rumors of that. So it's like, okay, well, if they're going to tour, then this album's going to be coming out soon. And then there was a graphic that was circulating on Instagram and on social media earlier last month in January, that had it was announcing a listening party on January 31st in Los Angeles, and it was taken down. Nobody knew anything about it. Nobody was talking about it. And then sure enough, on January 31st at the Troubadour in Los Angeles, there was an invite-only listening party hosted by Eddie Vedder, Mike McCready, Jeff Ament, and then the producer of this impending album, Andrew Watt. And apparently, Ethan, the album fucking rips. So what we know so far is that there's 11 songs on it, and it's called Dark Matter. And Eddie Vedder said, "No hyperbole. I think this is our best work." And coming from the man, I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. I got to drink the Kool-Aid. I'm fired up for this. I'm excited for this. Everything that I've heard about it so far leads me to believe that it's going to be something special and something good. The people that attended, not able to speak in specifics, but they said it's a drummer album, and Matt Cameron shines on it. Stone Gossard has said it's the heaviest stuff they've done in a while. So,
okay.
I'm excited for this.
Yeah, this is big. Initial reaction, like I'm interested. I'm really intrigued. This is intriguing stuff. I mean, 12th studio album. I mean, last
33 years after 10.
Yeah, not long after Gigaton.
Yeah, well, Gigaton's 4 years old this year, which is wild.
Wow, 2020 was 4 years ago. Okay,
that's fucked.
That is crazy. Yeah, I'm really excited to see, because Gigaton wasn't my favorite.
Me neither.
So I wonder if they had plans. I don't know. I always wonder, like, if they know that if they're going to do another album or something like that. And I wonder if this was kind of always in the back of their heads and stuff, to have another album come out. And yeah, this is going to be great. I love that I love to hear that it's a drummer album. I'm pretty excited. I mean,
yeah, Pearl Jam's history to me is so fascinating, and like the way that I think about it is so interesting to me, because I always think about the albums that they put out in the 2000s as kind of being like they're later in their career albums, like the Avocado album. Like I was like, oh, that's like later on in their career. Like that was 18 years ago that album came out. I mean, Yield, which was like, oh yeah, that's like their fourth one. Like, they've been at this for a while, or fifth one. They've been at this for a while. That turns 26 today, the day that we're recording this. The fact that they're still here and that they're still excited to create new music together is like magic. I struggle to understand the fact that, they're still able to do that. And I'm really, really excited about this one. I wasn't a big fan of Gigaton. I have a weird relationship with that one, though, because it came out like during the COVID time and lockdown, and I was not doing too hot. So I think I've just like
it's not what you needed.
It's not what I needed at the time. And I couldn't connect to it. But, if the guys are talking about this, I like Heavy. I like Matt Cameron. And I'm going to believe Eddie Vedder if he says it's the best work they've done.
I'm feeling really receptive to it. So
me too. More so than Gigaton. And Gigaton, that had been 7 years since Lightning Bolt had come out. So that one was highly anticipated. But I'm very excited for this one. I'm looking forward to it. And if it's all finished and they had a listening party, I mean, this thing could be announced any day. A single could come out at any time. And tour dates will probably have to come out probably by the end of next month. So tickets can be sent out, and we can joust with Ticketmaster and the 10 Club to hopefully get into one of those.
So when they say the heaviest stuff, I mean, we're thinking musically, right? Like, is it?
Yeah, I think so.
Think it could be heavy lyrics too, maybe?
It could be. So there was somebody who was at the either at the listening party or they had heard it, and it's a man named Daniel Kunka, and he had a thread on Twitter, and he said, "I have heard Dark Matter and it's fucking insane. Unlike any Pearl Jam album that has come before it, like Soundgarden and Tom Petty had a fucking Pearl Jam, baby. Rock and fucking roll."
Jesus, that's so I don't know. Yeah, it's when I hear stuff, when I hear people, compared to other bands like that, when bands have babies and stuff, I get a little skeptical.
Yeah, I get a little nervous.
Yeah, I'm a little nervous, but this one it's got a lot of hype around it all of a sudden.
Yeah.
So I'm very intrigued.
This man also went on to say, old school Matt Cameron, so many riffs, so many solos, some of the grooviest, heaviest riffs they've done in a long time. So that obviously alludes to the fact that it's not just lyrically heavy and that it's, heavy musically. And I am all for that. I've been longing for something like that. I'm fired up about this.
Yeah, I can tell. I'm excited. I can feel it. And I think it's coming at a good time. It's coming at a good time for us. We're kind of pumped up for this, and maybe we'll have a live listen party. We'll have an open room, and we'll just listen to it. That would be kind of cool.
That would be pretty cool. Yeah. So we'll have to stay tuned for that.
Maybe we'll get some tickets.
Maybe we'll get some tickets. Yeah, we haven't been to a Pearl Jam show since 2018. So I would love to see them again. And I'm going to be more intentional this time about trying to get tickets than I was last time, because I think last time I just did the 10 Club and I didn't get them. So this time I'll probably try to, any and all avenues. And if I have to spend a little bit of money to go, I think it's important. I feel connected.
That. Yeah. We haven't splurged on a big show like this in 2 years. So
yeah, it's time.
Let's see. Anything else about Dark Matter? What do you think about the title, Dark Matter?
I like it.
You do?
I like it a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, Tidal.
I like it better than Gigaton and Lightning Bolt.
Yeah, I like Lightning Bolt. I think is a decent album title.
Yeah.
Dark Matter seems a little corny to me.
You think so? Oh, the pundit has spoken.
Yeah, we've got heavy music. We're going to call it Dark Matter. Some older guys writing music, but I haven't heard it, so I can't really.
I think it's hard for me to decide and give an opinion until I hear it and until I hear the lyrics and hear really what it's all about.
Do you by chance have the song titles in front of you?
I know no, they've only been rumored and reported, like getting pretty deep into like 10 Club forum pages. So some of them, I guess not all of them have been available, but apparently reports have said that the following titles are songs on the album. We've got Upper Hand, Setting Sun, the title track Dark Matter, Scared of Fear, React Respond, Running, Something Special, Wreckage, and Waiting for Stevie.
Waiting for Stevie. I hope that one's really good.
Yeah, I think it's going to be the best one.
I'm definitely intrigued. I'm a little skeptical.
Okay.
I feel like I have to be, but yeah. But I am very intrigued.
I feel like this is like watching First Take, where like, you know, somebody has to feel one way and somebody has to feel the other way.
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to do.
I won't fight you over it though, because I'm pretty jacked.
No, that's why we have a podcast, just to fight.
Exactly, to just fight with one another. And
Pearl Jam hasn't released anything good since 10. There, I said it.
A lot of people have said that. A lot of people.
Now it is obviously a difficult challenge to make a new album and stack it up against the old stuff, the stuff that made you big, the stuff that made people become fans. You see that a ton with every music artist that you like.
Yeah.
There's always going to be one where you're just like, they strayed away. So, but what it does give you is another side. You get to see growth. And at the end of the day, they're extremely talented musicians. So this standalone piece of work is going to be really good and something that we have, and that's awesome. So with that mindset moving in, I think it's going to be really fun to have a new album to listen to and to kind of get into.
I agree.
Different time of their life, you know, different.
They're in their 60s now. I mean, they're getting there.
Yeah, different inspirations. So this is going to be this is really cool for sure.
And I think one thing with Pearl Jam, I think the discourse around them and their releases have changed over the last 10, 15 years or so, where I think everything now is filtered, and rightfully so, is filtered through the lens of just being grateful that there still is new Pearl Jam music coming out, and the band still is together, and they're all still alive and you know, friendly with one another enough that they're able to make this music. And I think for me, like, those thoughts really changed when Chris Cornell passed away. I was like, fuck, like, you know, none of this can be taken for granted, and like anything, you know, that these guys are going to be able to create in any of their bands is something special, and it's not something to be taken for granted, and it's something to appreciate. So I'm definitely filtering my thoughts on Dark Matter through that lens, certainly. But even without that, I'm looking forward to this one. It feels good to get excited about something new grunge related, because for a while when we started the page, all of it was new, so we were excited about all of it because we didn't know a lot of the music, and you know, you could discover one of these albums even though it had been old. So it's nice to be anticipating something again, you know, something around the corner that's unknown.
Yeah, and like you said, it could come out at any time.
We have to be ready.
Yeah, we have to be ready on our phones to play the newest music.
Yeah. Well, good news. My screen time is abhorrent, so it looks like I'm gonna be available to see it.
I'm not gonna miss it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna miss it. So we'll have to once more information comes available, or perhaps a single, we'll be talking about it once again here on the show.
I'm sure we'll have another episode dedicated to this one.
Yeah,
which will be fun.
Yeah. I think so too. And something else, the next topic that we have, I doubt this is going to be the last time that we talk about this on the Grunge Bible podcast.
We're going to have there's going to be a closure aspect to this, another episode for sure down the road. Yeah. I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
So this has been about 2 weeks running. It's been about 2 weeks, Chris?
Yeah, just about 2 weeks.
We randomly got into the OC TV show that came out in 2003. to '07, 4 seasons, like 25 episodes a season. So plenty of
Dense.
plenty of content to get through. Back when TV series and seasons lasted a long time. And for people out there, you probably know what we're talking about, but OC, Orange County, talks about a couple kids in California and the life and the struggles of being a teenager with wealthy families and weird dichotomy. And I think, it's so random how it's took a foothold, but one of the main reasons was one of our favorite artists, Petey, definitely has a huge influence in his music from the OC. I mean, he talks about it in the song Don't Tell the Boys. And I love when I can get onto other people's lore, and you can kind of join in. And it felt like that. It felt like I was kind of entering into, because as we've seen, as the show goes on, the soundtrack and the bands that they play have play at the club, the bait shop, is a lot of artists that PD referenced as his influences.
Yeah.
So I feel really connected to PD through all this.
Oh yeah, me too.
And that's like one of the main things,
Yeah. It's one of those weird instances where like I knew the song Don't Tell the Boys. I've known that song for years now at this point, since basically it came out when you showed it to me. And that song references what is probably one of the bigger climaxes of the entire television show. And like we know what's coming because it was referenced in the song. I've sung along to the song hundreds of times, right? But I don't care. Like I just feel like it's just this discovery, and it really frames his music so well, and it also kind of frames that time period so well. And we're doing that thing that we do from time to time on the Grunge Bible podcast, and more so in our own personal lives that we don't share with everybody, where we take something that may or may not have a large level of significance to you or to anyone, and we just fixate on it, and we will wring every single ounce of meaning and profundity out of this thing until it's gone. And that's what we've been doing with the OC.
It's so
I wouldn't
fun.
even know how to describe it, like a teen drama, I guess. Would you call the genre of television show that it is? And it's just like, some of it is just completely and utterly ridiculous because, so many things are so predictable. And then so many other things, it's just, it's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, the scenarios seem unrealistic. The acting is subpar at times. People get really annoying because you think this would never happen. Like, people don't act like this.
Yeah.
And that's what keeps you coming back. And in the song Don't Tell the Boys, they say they watched 3 seasons of the OC, like, in a weekend. And that's how this has been. Like, I understand. Yeah. He probably binge watched it too. And for some reason, you get connected to something like this. And yeah, you fixate. And you want to, you just put it on. It's been very therapeutic.
Oh yeah. It's been a comfort show, a comfort binge, which I haven't done in a really long time. Like, I'm not really a television guy. But
right.
when I
think
find
that's why it's stuck. I think that's why it's stuck. Cause I was looking for something to watch. Cause I was, like you said, you've kind of simplified your routine these days where you wake up, work out, work, eat dinner. And then, I needed something to occupy you needed something to occupy yourself that didn't seem. And I like TV shows that, I like paying attention to a thick movie, but at the same time, like, you got to have something that you can be semi, locked in, right?
Yeah.
You can watch something, and this is perfect. This is something you can put on. You can go in and out if you need to, but it has a lot of significance when you're in it. And that's exactly what we've done. So I think I just pulled it up randomly. I think I was listening to, I've been hearing the part of the song for like the last 3 years, and I'm like, man, I was like, I don't know the OC, but apparently it's really big. And so I think over the years I've been meaning to watch it, so it just happened to be right now.
Yeah. And it's exactly what we needed.
And there's something about, I wrote down something about catching up with a show that came out when you were young, where all of the music is of that time period, all of the interactions are something that you can relate to, because like if it came out now, it would be smartphones and Ubering and people it's just a different way that people get around and interact.
Yeah,
So
not
back then,
Motorola flip phones and taxis, you know?
yeah, back then it's like, where are the kids? Like, oh, they're out. They said they were going to be here, but you know, we have no way to make sure that they're there. Where now people have like the 360 and you can tell exactly where your kids are, which is good.
Yeah.
But back then, like if you wanted to get away, you could get away.
You could.
Me and my friend talk about like if you went hiking, like you were gone. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like you went hiking, it was like, are they okay? We don't know. They're supposed to be back. And then if they don't come back when they said they were supposed to, then you get worried.
Yeah.
You know, they're supposed to be back at 11. They're not back.
Yeah.
I'm allowed to be worried now. And that's what this show has a ton of parallels to how I viewed my childhood.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's something about the music too that I think we're going to get into it a little bit, but something that I love about this show and just kind of plays into how humorous it is at times and just how unrealistic it is. Like all of the characters in the show, well, most of them will not hesitate for a second to completely throw somebody under the bus, completely betray somebody's trust or confidence, and just strictly act in their own self-interests. Everyone except the great Sandy Cohen, which is it's so funny. So Ethan, you and I started binging this thing at pretty much the same time, and we didn't really compare notes for a little while. And the first time that we did, like the dad of the family, Sandy, like he's the guy. Like for us, like that's what it's about.
He's the only sane person in the show. He's the public
moral
defender.
Mouthpiece.
Yeah, he's married into a rich family, but like has all the moral compasses that you need to survive in a place so hectic. And like the big money lifestyle would be like, I'm so glad I wasn't born into something like that. Obviously it'd be nice to have a little bit more money, but like all of the shallowness that can come with like a lot of money and being handed something to you is shown in the show. And Sandy is there as a beacon of light, you know, and he keeps it real. And he's the one who, you know, brought in Ryan, this kid that, you know, doesn't have a family. And he's the reason the show exists. Sandy is the reason that
Sandy is the catalyst. Yeah. And he's the one to turn to. He's the steady hand.
We're in season 2, about episode 10. So this is like a season 1 recap and a little bit of 2. And like I said, we'll probably come back at the end of it all and give our final thoughts. But I'm sure that, you know, just like any TV show, this is the most fired up we'll be about it. Because that's how it works. And one really cool aspect of this show is more prominent in season 2, where they have this place called the Bait Shop, which we know something about. El Bait Shop, another bar that has a specific meaning to us that maybe we can get into.
Des Moines, Iowa.
Oh yeah. And at this club they have, it's also a very unrealistic club because it's very thin. They have live music. They have live music there, and it's great because they got bands that were current at the time. Like they have the Killers showed up, and it was 2004, and they've only been a band for 2 years. And they're out there playing. The club is like not packed at all. Like they're able to walk and talk freely.
Like Hot Fuss had already been out, and they became one of the biggest bands in the world. They're just playing Bait Shop.
And they're playing there, and you know, Brandon Flowers is on stage, and then later Modest Mouse comes on, and Isaac is playing, and it's like, it's so cool. And it's really similar to the Singles soundtrack, where they had Alice in Chains playing, they had Chris and Soundgarden, and like having them in the background, having them a part of the show, but not the main portion, is really unique. And, you know, was big during that time of television. Like, I mean, it was intentional. I mean, it happened in a lot. And I love
the time and space. And the interesting thing for me with the music around this is like, all of those bands that are playing, and a lot of the soundtrack was music that was new at the time. So it started in 2003 and 2004, and you hear so many songs that are now iconic or are now so well known, and have kind of, you know, put themselves, you know, up on the mantle of these bands as like the best work they've ever done. Like this stuff was new then. I mean, like when the Killers are playing, like they play Mr. Brightside, and like that that wasn't what it is now.
Yeah, that wasn't the Mr. Brightside that we know. It's like when you hear "Smells Like Teen Spirit" back in the '94.
Yeah, exactly. And the craziest one for me, it just happened. I just watched this episode. I think it was season 2, episode 9. One of the last songs they play, they're kind of just like sitting at like a diner type place, and Mark Lanigan's "Strange Religion" was playing, which the episode must have come out, I think, in 2004, the same year that Bubblegum had come out. So it's just this weird thing that's going on right now in my head. Anytime like these songs come up, I'm like, holy shit, that song. But at the time, it was just the new song from this person. And Modest Mouse, for example, like they've got all of the stuff from their 2004 album. I think it was "We Were Dead Before the Ship Even Sank." When they were playing, like that's the music that they were playing. And it's such a cool time and place thing. And I think that's part of what's so fascinating about it to me, in the same way that the Singles movie was, or really anything, any of those. I think of, Fast Times at Ridgemont High and like Freaks and Geeks and, things of that nature. I always think of them kind of together, Dazed and Confused, because it's like a snapshot of a time, and that's what this show is doing for me. And it's affecting me more, and I'm connecting with it more because I can, on one level, remember that time, because I was a kid in the mid 2000s as well, and I remember the way that people dressed, the way the phones looked, the way the cars even looked, and just a lot of those things.
Yeah, and you romanticize those times for sure. Yeah, talking about the music, every time you listen to certain bands and you love songs and you kind of zone out and allow it to be the soundtrack to your life. And you're like, this would be so cool, like an ending credit. Like that's what this show did, that I feel like they weren't scared to put, like you said, Mark Lanigan in there, and in a very, it wasn't on anybody's bingo board. Like, you would not have expected to hear that.
I don't think there's very much common ground on the Venn diagram of people who are tuning into the OC and people who loved Mark Lanigan.
Yeah. And then at the end of the 8th episode, I think it was, maybe 9, The World at Large by Modest Mouse was playing as they came together. And like, that's one of my favorite songs by them.
Yeah.
And like, I probably have thought like that it was, the ending credits to one of the days in my life, like multiple times. Yeah. And then to see it actually being used as like the ending song is so cool, because it's not a song that probably would get played now at the end. It's just like a unique choice that is it's very intentional. Like, it's just, if one of us if we wrote a movie, we'd pick these songs to be
exactly. It's like we're scoring the film right here.
which is great, and like no one would ever let us do that, so I'm glad somebody
not yet though, perhaps in the future. But yeah, so this is the latest fixation that we have, and I'm excited. I've been spending a lot of time doing it, and it's nice, just kind of sometimes I struggle with like maybe necessarily when I don't have, a ton of plans, or like my weekend isn't filled with different activities and going out and like seeing stuff. Like, I struggle with kind of being content just sitting for a while, and like on a weird way, having something to watch that I connect with and that I really enjoy has helped a lot. It's a lot better than like trying to find something on the show, or just like, sitting at home, like wishing you were doing something else. So it's kind of nice. Yeah. It's been a good way to spend time, and probably not the most productive thing, but you don't have to be productive all the time. It's my nice little treat at the end of the day of being productive.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's great until you stay up till 2:00 watching the OC, and then you have like no sleep.
It's been fun though. You and me, we've been pretty much like keeping pace with one another. So we've been able to chat in real time, which is, kind of an allusion to the way that it used to happen when, hey, it's on Friday night at 7, you got to watch.
Yeah, and I think the shock value of this show, I just imagine being like watching it through high school. It comes on once a week, and you get to like, they leave you on cliffhangers. Someone always walks in on something at the end of the show, and then it's something to be able to talk about, and you can't believe it.
And that's something that I forget about. I forget about the art of the cliffhanger when it comes to a streaming platform, because I just click to the next episode, and I'm ripping them.
Oh yeah, I always finish the night with the first 10 minutes of the next episode.
Nice, just to get started here.
Pretty much, yeah.
You didn't have that luxury back when it was on TV. When that cliffhanger came, you had 6 days and 23 hours to go until you could watch it again.
Yep. Another thing about the the songs, or I'm sorry, the way that the show is constructed. Like, I watch it back and I'm like, okay, when I was in high school, like I couldn't confront these issues and tell somebody that I like them, and then or walk like once someone says like, "Hey, I'm not into you," they're like, "Fine," and they like leave. Like that was never a thing. Like if somebody told me bad news, I'd be like, "Why?" Like, and I'd try to have a conversation, or if I could finally muster up to say something like that, it was never so easy. They just like walk away, and I'm like, this is not how it was.
No, it's absolutely. But you got to move the plot along. You don't have time to get bogged down in these conversations.
Like the amount of like bombs people drop and like we're done, and they just walk away, and then they like, I got to go talk to this person, and they like drop everything and go do that. Doesn't happen in real life. At least it didn't happen for me, but maybe it should have. Maybe that's how I need to live my life moving forward, is just ultra honest. I mean, it's like they're not honest, obviously. They do stuff, but then like when they talk to each other, they're just so blunt.
Yeah. Because
they only have 45 minutes of television to get through all this.
In a world of Caleb Nichols, we need to be Sandy Cohen's.
Exactly. Oh my gosh!
Oh man, it's so good. I'm so looking forward to just binging the piss out of it for the rest of the winter.
Watching a little bit more today. You mean?
I'm gonna
throw it on as soon as I finish this.
It's like last night. Like I went out, like caught up with some of my friends. Like had some beers, and like I got home, and like I was like it was like 11 o'clock. I was like, I could fit a couple episodes in, and that's what I did. Ethan, I have one more question as it relates to the OC and kind of our intro into it. Being Petey, and it's the lyric, "Sometimes I'm more like Ryan, you're a little more like Seth." So between the two of us,
the two of us,
what do we think? Who's more like Ryan? Who's more like Seth?
That's so interesting, because
I don't think either of us are like either of them, really.
Well, they both changed so much too, right? Like from season 1 to season 2, Seth has become way more confident, way more like he talks like. I mean, now that's his shtick. He over-explained. Yeah, talks way too much. In the beginning, Ryan was like kind of like the bad boy, but now he's more responsible and has more of a level head. And it seems like he's changed a ton. So, their character arcs, and that's like all this show is about, and how most sitcoms are. There's no plot line to the show except for like character arcs,
the days of their lives.
So, I don't know. You and I are not really like. Probably either of them.
Yeah, I'm glad. I'm glad I'm not like Seth. Seth's really pissing me off lately.
Seth's got some game though. I mean, they all got game. It's like that's not how relationships worked either. They like talk to a girl for like 3 minutes, fall in love, and then like date.
And that's it. And it's so funny with the show.
Maybe that was how high school was.
I don't know. It's so funny with the show too,
not
because
my
like
school.
These people will like be dating for like 2 or 3 weeks, and then like something will happen, and like they'll have a really emotional conversation where it's like, well, like I don't want to lose what we have, and it's like they've been dating for like 2 weeks. It's like, what is there to lose, my brother in Christ?
Yep. And it is true when it comes to the parents. I mean, they usually let you date. They know how it's going to turn out. Probably not going to turn out well, but like kids got to live and learn. And that's why Sandy's so good, because he knows kids are going to be kids, and he has to let them.
He knows when to let them go and learn for themselves.
Oh yeah,
it's like that song by the Faces, "Ooh La La, poor young grandson. There's nothing I can say. You'll have to learn just like me, and that's the hardest way."
Yeah, it is. I mean, it is so true, and I think I wrote that down too. Like kids, it's just a reminder how volatile and like I don't know. Volatile sounds like a bad word, but like how sporadic kids can be. High schoolers, emotional, like you have ups and downs. There's so much. There's Marissa is like a total train wreck at times, and it's like really frustrating to watch. But high school and like growing up and figuring out like family dynamics that you didn't know, and like you don't have. Yeah, I mean, people talk about it all the time. Like when you don't have the full, picture, and you just see like a small, and that's how like living and growing up is. Like you don't have the full picture, and I don't know if we ever will, but like you learn more and more as you grow up. So it is really stressful to be a teenager and confusing, because you just have nothing to lean on as far as like life experience.
Yeah,
especially when everything's given to you, and you can hold up a hand and be like, I need money, and people will give it to you. I mean, it's just totally different. So it's a good reminder if you interact with kids and teaching or coaching or whatever, like, you know,
Patient
kids
hands.
come from all backgrounds, patient hands. Kids come from all backgrounds, and who knows what they've gone through and what they're gonna turn into. It's kind of scary to think about.
Yeah,
like,
it's a good lesson though. How, like, you know, when you're young, like, as bad as things may seem, like, you can always recover, and you know, the younger you are, the more time and ability you have to make things right, and that goes back to, you know, something our friend John once told us: innocence in time.
Innocence in time. I love that lyric.
Yeah. And if you think about it, this episode, because I think we're just about wrapped up with our OC conversation, you know, it may seem a little out of left field that we're talking about this, but if you think about it, Ethan, this is exactly what you should expect about the Grunge Bible, just fixating on something that is at least 20 years old that we were incredibly late to, that just infatuates us. We did it 10 years ago with grunge, which was 20 years old at the time. So now here we are about the OC.
Yeah, it is like finding an artist, and it could be a classic rock artist too, and you find somebody that you're just like, holy shit, and then like you post it and someone's like, oh yeah, like, I mean, I can't believe you're just finding this, and it's fun. It's a lot of fun because
and I did that with the OC a couple of weeks ago. I posted a picture of Seth saying, hey, you do not insult Death Cab, and there were a bunch of people that were commenting like, oh, this is the best show, like I watch it all the time even still, and best soundtrack or whatever.
Yep. Yeah, it's always I get like, I always think that people are going to be way more in tune to what I'm thinking about, right? So like the OC, like I want to talk about it, but I'm like, people are going to think I'm so lame because I'm talking about the OC. But then in reality, like it's probably more niche. I mean, I don't know how big was it when it came out?
I don't know. I don't want to read about it yet because I'm afraid I'm going to get spoilers, and I'm saving my research for the end.
Yeah, but it's like, probably, I mean, I don't know of many people that watched the OC when it was going on.
It's not the biggest show in the world. Like, I'd not heard of it really before Petey.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't think that we're not alone in it when we're finding out about it right now. It's not like I didn't know who, you know, Jimi Hendrix was until 10 days ago. Like it's a lot larger than the OC.
Fuck is Jimi Hendrix?
Yeah. James
Hendrix. Sanford Cohen.
Sanford Cohen. Oh man. So yeah, if you guys are listening right now and you have not watched the OC and you looking for a show, for a little comfort show, like I said, it's therapeutic because you're not the one making the mistakes and you get to watch this kind of cringy drama unfold. It's pretty solid. It's on
Everybody
Hulu.
needs something to watch sometimes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else, Chris, that you can think of? No,
I've got nothing about the OC. I just want to extend my gratitude to everybody who's still listening for all of your support. I would also like to thank Drew McFadden. We wouldn't have made it to 150 without him, so we wouldn't have made it to 1 without him. So, you know, Drew is the machine that keeps this thing going.
He is. So let's do songs of the week, and then we'll close it up. I can go first if you'd like.
All right, yeah.
And you actually sent it to me. I believe it was on the show. I think that the Killers played it live, but it's "Smile Like You Mean It." And my cousins really liked the Killers, and they were the one who showed me Hot Fuzz. And it was one of those bands like growing up that I just loved in high school. It was like kind of the first CD type of thing. And I was a huge Killers fan. They're massive. They've become massive in the past 20 years. But it really does. And I remember that album, Smile Like You Mean It, like Jenny Was a Friend, and their music, that album, and it's so much fun and brings back so many memories. So that is a great song because, I mean, it's not the Mr. Brightsides of the world or whatever, but it's still one of their bigger songs. So Smile Like You Mean It, such a good song.
Hell yeah. Spanish Love Songs did a cover of that. It's pretty good. I just found it the other day, actually, after I had sent you the Killers, their original version, but that's a great song of the week. Oh
yeah. It's a great song of the year in general.
Yeah. I was a little nervous that you were going to steal mine because mine is also a song by the Killers, also off of Hot Fuss. And it is all these things that I've done. Last night, for some reason, when I got home from the gym and I was just driving home, and I went back out, and I was, driving to and from meeting my friends, and it's just such a good car song. And I just absolutely fucking love it. And I've been listening to it. I think I've listened to it enough this weekend that it's already going to make its way onto the Spotify top 100 by the end of the year. So that's going to be my song of the week. And who would have thought that we'd have a double shot of the Killers on the song of the
I know.
week?
Yeah,
It's good though. I like it.
It's
I'm
good.
Not mad
It's kind of
about it.
overdue. Like I said, that band, I remember they were like one of the original bands that I wanted to see live.
Mm-hmm.
It was like them, Mumford and Sons was a really big one when I was listening in high school because they came out with Babel and Lil
People
Lion
our
Man.
age, like the Killers, like they were the band that like, hey, like music is cool. Like I want to get into music.
Yeah, and they both were kind of on when ticket prices went like skyrocketed. Like I felt like the Killers became really hard for people to go see, and like Mumford became impossible. And now, it's even harder to see Mumford, and probably the same with the Killers. Like they just have such a following, there's
a lot of lore built up over the years too.
Yeah, so I'm pissed because I feel like I missed. I should have went and saw them when they were only marginally expensive and stuff.
Yeah,
but I was young and it was not easy to do stuff like that. So
yeah, my last thought, and then we can wrap this up, or just thing I want to share. There's a really good video on YouTube of the Killers giving Mr. Brightside either its live debut or like very, very soon after that. And it's just so interesting because like they're playing like it's like a small venue, like there's not tons of people there, and like nobody in the crowd is reacting the way that people react now when Mr. Brightside comes on. Probably one of the most iconic songs of the 21st century so far, I would say.
Yeah.
And it's just so interesting to watch, and the band's like not as fluid throughout it, and it hasn't taken on the personality and the meaning that it would soon take on. It's just a really interesting, another moment in time.
You said you had posted that, or you just watched it?
No, I've seen it. I can send it to you. I've never posted it on Grunge Bible, but it's on YouTube.
Yeah, I'm intrigued.
It's not in the Grunge Bible vault.
Not yet.
Not yet. Yeah. How do you guys get so much good stuff? Check the vault.
Oh, one of my favorite questions. Where do you get all this stuff?
Yeah, the vault.
Internet, like Timmy Turner. The internet. So always what I thought.
Fuck yeah.
The vault. All right, that wraps up the 150th episode of the Grunge Bible podcast. That's crazy.
Do we have another 150 in us?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, wow.
That would take us to 2027.
So six more, and we'll be at the 3-year anniversary. Yeah. That's so cool.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you all for being here, for listening, for following along. Please consider sharing, writing a review, or becoming a Patreon supporter at any level. And we got more coming, so be ready.
Yeah, we do. Thanks for your time, everyone. Have a great week and stay heavy.
Rock and roll.
Rock and roll. Grunge rock.